This is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, filling in for Teresa on the news, from Last Comic Standing, Natasha Leggero, and Superfan Giovanni. And now, a person who probably knows less about Adam Carolla than Giovanni, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get it on. Mandate. Get it the fuck on. Good day, Bald Bryan.
Ooh.
Yeah, good day. Good day, Natasha Leggero.
Good day.
And again, I like Leggero because it's on the hood of a lot of my old Lamborghinis, and it's also on the hood of a lot of old Aston Martins and a couple Ferraris, and possibly you've been on the hood of a Duster too. It means lightweight.
To go lightly.
Yeah, lightweight. Well, go lightly, which is, I guess, the name part. You know, in the automotive part, it means built. It's the lightweight version of the car. Not like lightweight, like one bong load and it's asleep on the porch, but lightweight, like built with tubular frames and then skinned with aluminum and more performance, lighter weight. But for a girl, I guess in a weird way, it's kind of a European version of little.
Well, it's also a musical term, like to go lightly.
Go lightly?
To play lightly.
Yeah, there's a Everly Brothers song that has that sort of come softly, but it's a little differently.
Tell me about that, Grandpa Carolla.
All right, where the hell was I? We got Superfan Giovanni coming in here in a second, who definitely knows more about me than I do, so he'll be pointing out a bunch of things I said and can't remember. Oh, I love when this guy follows me around. Natasha from Last Comic Standing, and also has herself a little podcast called The Lavender Hour, available on our own Stitcher and iTunes, as well as sitting in for Teresa Strasser. Thank you all who came out to the Improv last night in beautiful Melrose, selling out 2 shows. Thank you very much for that. And I should mention that Stitcher, you can hear some exclusive extra content only at Stitcher.com. You just sit there. It's what you call an app. Plop it onto your iPhone, BlackBerry, Android, and Palm, and stream this show or stream Natasha's show, whatever you like. All on Stitcher.com. No more downloading or syncing, just Stitcher. Stitcher.com. It's free. It's a free app, everyone. And then you can hear this show or Natasha's show for free. So, Jesus Christ, people, get off your ass. All right, where the hell were we? Yes, Natasha. I wanted to play something for you guys. Pull up that Chantix thing, if you could. I was just skipping my rope the other night, watching me some TV, and I've been going insane and complaining about this for a long time. All these commercials with the...
What?
Complaining. Well, there's a million and one commercials. Like every car commercial. I love cars, and I know you do with the Super Leggero. And I would argue, though, how many... I was thinking the American version of that might be little, but I was also thinking, like, what percentage of guys named Little or morbidly obese? And I think it's higher than just guys named Smith or Brown. Like, I would say, ironically, people named Little are actually heavier for some reason in this country. I'd like to look into that.
Well, at the very least, the guys nicknamed like Tiny are 99% obese.
Yeah, but that's done. Yeah. So same with guys named Stretch, are always under 5'8". But so I see a lot of these commercials, and there've been a million and one of them. There's been one of the famous ones for me was Subaru was doing a campaign about 5 years ago where they were touting their all-wheel drive. We have all-wheel drive, and they're showing all the other cars that were front-wheel drive driving around at a 45-degree angle, just sort of up on their front wheels with their back wheels about 8 feet off the ground, going, is this what you want, just front-wheel drive? When you can have all-wheel drive, but as all the cars were driving around, essentially about a 45-degree angle on their front wheels, there was that thing, closed course, professional driver, do not attempt. And I thought, how could you even possibly attempt? Like, let's say Donnie has a Mini Cooper. It's a front-wheel drive car. How could he possibly even attempt to just drive on the front wheels?
They did the same thing around the same time with a car that you said it would in the commercial would drive off a pier and go underwater and like transform into a submarine. Jane Lynch
Humvee.
Do not attempt. Professional driver.
Guy literally gets on the end of the Malibu pier, floors it, busts through the end, hits the water. When he goes underwater, flaps come out, his wheels go up, and a periscope pops up, and it says, "Do not attempt." I suppose we need to put that under every cartoon now where somebody turns into a donkey boy or something, right? I mean, I understand the do not attempt when the guy's driving through a crowded shopping mall, but the do not attempt when whatever it is you're attempting is physically impossible? Do we still need that warning? All right, so I'm skipping my rope the other night, and I'm noticing, now this is the commercial. We didn't edit it. We didn't do anything. I chopped off the last 10 seconds just to get out of the thing. But we will play it just as it ran. And you tell me what percentage of this commercial is for the product, and then what percentage of it is a warning. Here we go.
I did have an unopened pack of cigarettes in my purse, and then I think I opened my purse and realized it was still there and said, "What the heck? I don't need these." I said, "Bye, I don't need you anymore. You're not my crutch. I don't need a crutch."
There's visual
Talk to your
warnings,
doctor about
by the way,
Chantix and a support plan that's right for you. Some people have had changes in behavior, hostility, agitation, depressed mood, and suicidal thoughts or actions while taking or after stopping Chantix. If you notice agitation, hostility, depression, or changes in behavior, thinking, or mood that are not typical for you, or if you develop suicidal thoughts or actions, stop taking Chantix and call your doctor right away. Talk to your doctor about any history of depression or other mental health problems, which can get worse while taking Chantix.
John Tesh banging
Some
away
people
on the
have allergic
88.
or serious skin reactions to Chantix, some of which can be life-threatening. If you notice swelling of face,
She's
mouth, throat,
scrapbooking
or a
right now.
rash,
We should
It's
point
so
out.
depressing because she's like looking at old
Tell your doctor
pictures.
which medicines you're taking, as they
It's
may
the
work differently when you
it's the
quit
saddest
smoking.
thing.
Chantix dosing may be different if you have kidney problems.
She
The most
looks
common side effect is
suicidal.
nausea. Patients also reported trouble sleeping and vivid, unusual,
Catherine O'Hara
or
looks
strange
terrible.
dreams.
Yeah.
Until you know how
Really
Chantix
hit
may
the
affect
skids.
you, use caution when driving or operating machinery. Chantix should not be taken with other quit smoking products.
Can you fucking believe the society we've forged for ourselves?
It's wonderful.
All right. The point is this.
She would be so much happier smoking.
I would be happier if she was smoking. I got on my computer and I timed it. There was 14 seconds of actual commercial followed by over a minute. So it's like, literally 4 or 5 times the amount into the fucking warning. And here's the thing. It's not like once you get to the doctor's office, you don't get a whole fucking bunch of paperwork to sign and a whole bunch of things to read and a whole retinal scan and all that kind of stuff. Look, here's what I don't understand. First off, I want to say something. I think we are slowly being depressed by these commercials. I know it has an effect. I talk about this more and more. Just like when somebody lights a scented candle in a house, like if you're selling a house and you're having an open house, light a nice lavender scented candle versus breaking wind. Because when people walk in, it's the same $1 million house, but when they smell ass versus lavender, just something happens. Their mood changes a little bit. It's like when you're sitting around and you smell pumpkin pie cooking in the oven, you get a little bit of a better mood. I say this is a bummer. And I say all the warnings when they go like suicidal, explosive diarrhea, crazed narcissism, axe wielding, and all that shit. You can't just sit there and tune out all this crazy negative shit that's just sort of floating in. It's like radon or something. It's just kind of absorbing it into your pores. And I say it's the same thing when you're driving around town. And they have all that Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption. It's a bunch of guys holding sawed-off shotguns at you, looking down at you, or some guys just cranking some fucking music where the guy's yelling F the LAPD and I'll bust your ass, I'll put a cap in your ass, or there's some energy drink that's endorsed by Chuck Liddell and he's got his shirt off and he's yelling get some. I don't think any of these things help. I think it's all part of a very slow, just sort of low-grade depression that just sort of starts to permeate and sink in. And I fucking blame the lawyers. And this is all just lawyer shit. And now we're at the fucking point where the lawyers have essentially taken over our culture and are shaping our culture. You see, the lawyers used to sort of hang back and go, well, call us when there's a problem. Now, they're getting out in front and really physically shaping our society. Like, you don't realize every fucking commercial, every knob, every warning label, like every time you try to open your aspirin and you can't get the fucking knob off, it's been childproofed and all this shit. Cigarette lighter, try to turn it, it's got the little childproof band on it and all that shit. It's just like lawyers are fucking taking over, and we need to fucking wrestle our society back from these dickheads. And everyone does this thing where they're like, well, how could it hurt? How could it hurt? How could it hurt? It does hurt. I think we're getting depressed. I don't think you can sit and watch that commercial somewhere around lap number 28 of if you're diabetic, if you beat your children, if you have sickle cell. At a certain point, you're fucking bummed out.
But it is the corporations who are hiring the lawyers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and what they're just protecting themselves
want to be sued
by other lawyers. And I'm just saying, obviously we need some tort reform, and we just need the fucking courts just to fucking man up and go, look.
But who are the idiots who are falling for that, who don't even recognize that, who would buy Chromex or whatever it is?
Well, look, there's the point. If you're a smoker and you're having trouble quitting smoking and you want to talk to your doctor about it, you want to try Chantix, then go to your fucking doctor and talk to him about it. And then it's incumbent upon your doctor to ask you, or as your doctor know, if you have diabetes or explosive diarrhea or whatever. But we don't have to, see, here's what I'm saying. It's sort of like when I was, I got horribly depressed again. I was at the airport. We were flying out of, the fuck were we last? Oh, I was flying out of Chicago. And as I'm flying out of Chicago, leaving, 7 a.m. out of O'Hare, see a woman going, she's a couple clicks in front of me. She's going through the metal detector. She's about to put her suitcase on top of the conveyor belt that's going through the scanner. And the poor woman's a 40-year-old chick, blonde hair chick. All of a sudden I hear like the guy like, hey, where you going? Or not so fast. Next thing you know, she's unzipping her Samsonite, flipping it open, and pulling what looks like a very expensive bottle of red wine out of her bag, which obviously was probably a gift. She probably went to Chicago, saw her folks. They said, here's a nice bottle of vintage whatever. She unknowingly threw it in her bag the next day. And she literally just pulled it out of her bag, walked her little blue eyes and her little blonde ponytail over to a trash can. And it was sad because they had one for liquids, which was like just a big funnel top, like for you to dump all your water and Gatorade down, and another one that was just a trash can. And she just stood there like sort of Sophie's Choice, like, should I open it and dump it? And then she just went, and she just right into the garbage can and got right back in line and zipped her Samsonite. And she didn't, now here's the point, she didn't even shake her head or argue or do an oi or what have we become, or I guess the terrorists have won. Some guy made $9 an hour and went, hey, sweetie, take that bottle that cost $86, was a gift from your folks, pull it out of your bag, throw it in the trash can right now. And she just pulled it out, threw it right in the trash can, got back in line, and I was like, fucking lawyers and terrorists, they've won. They've won. And by the way, this is us now. What the fuck are our kids gonna do? The fuck are they gonna do? And we're past the part where we're arguing. We're not even fucking arguing anymore. It's just lawyers this, safety that, airport this, TSA that, and that's that. And if you fucking pipe up about it, you're like a terrorist. If you go, wait a minute, why the fuck do I got to do this? Or this is insane. I said, sir. But just watching everyone strip down and shoes off and fucking pants down. And putting themselves back together and dumping everything out, throwing out all their bottles. And I had had all my toiletry bag emptied out the other day. I had one thing of toothpaste that said 4 ounces on it, except for it was rolled up to the point where there was just a cap full at the end, but they said 4 ounces. It says 4 ounces on it. They chucked that. They chucked my hair goo. It's a low grade, slow sort of a death. It's not death by 727 hitting Twin Tower. It's probably more 757 hitting Twin Tower. This is a slow death. This is slow, like just erosion of sort of dignity and lifestyle, and it's a lawyer thing. And I just fucking say we need to stand up. Like, you want to quit smoking? You want to use Chantix? Fine. Go talk to your doctor. Let them do their fucking commercial. I know there's side effects. When you buy a car, you could hit an oak tree, but they don't need to spend half the commercial talking about the potential dangers of you hitting an oak tree in your car. Just go down to your fucking Toyota dealer and they'll tell you to put your seatbelt on. That's it.
So if they didn't add all that stuff, then technically someone could sue Chantix
Well,
when she starts having diarrhea or whatever.
Somebody would have it. Somebody would get diarrhea. Somebody would claim that their doctor gave it to them. Even if their doctor gave them the speech, they'd still say, "Yeah, well, you should have known I'm dumb," and that would have been that, I'm sure. Anyway, I just thought you guys would enjoy. I mean, it was one of these things where when they first started these fucking retarded announcements about 10 years ago, they were like 10% of the commercial. Like they do 90% of the commercial for birth control, and then at the end they'd go, consult a doctor. Sometimes nausea may occur with overuse. If you're pregnant, do not attempt. But it's a little thing at the end. Now it's the lion's share of the commercial is the fucking warning.
My favorite is the birth control. I forget which one it was, so I won't mistakenly say which one. But birth control didn't put enough warnings in one of their commercials, so they come out with another commercial that was entirely a warning. The whole commercial, start to finish, it started with the FDA thought we hadn't been clear enough about our warnings. So here we go. That was the commercial. The entire commercial was, here's what we effed up and didn't tell you.
The part I saw that one, and the part that's insane about the commercials are, you can't get the birth control or the Chantix. You can't get it from a vending machine at a junior college. You have to see your doctor. So that part where you have to go see your doctor, isn't that the part where they could get hold of you and tell you, here's the possible side effects? I mean, I understand if you could just go to the liquor store, go to a vending machine, or go to the Subway and get it, but you can't. You have to go through your doctor and you have to get a prescription.
The worst, by the way, now I'm thinking about with the lawyers, is that there's commercials on TV, usually during the daytime. I don't know if that says something or not.
Yes.
But they're like, have you been affected by whatever it is, mesothelioma or Yaz or whatever? If you've taken this, especially if you are someone who's just had it, call us. We're going to sue on your behalf.
Right.
And then it's like, we're not a lawyer spokesman. We're not a lawyer. We're a lawyer spokesman. But call us anyway. We can sue for you.
Right. And of course, it's just a bunch of fucking people who are depressed and should be employed, but they're basically unemployable because they're depressed, sitting home on the dole thinking, here's another way. Here's another self-entitled way I can make some fucking money.
I got an appointment tomorrow.
All right, Natasha. Oh, yeah, sorry. How about you get ready to cue up the news, and I'll give a little tip of the cap to our good friends over at 01 Media Center. Building custom computers and computer systems for film, TV, and the music industry. Gave us our souped-up computers. Donnie's supercomputer, by the way, going great guns last night with Blaster Girl at the keys during our live show. 15 years they've been at it, so I think they know what they're doing. You can buy one, you can rent one. They're renting iPads too, $99 a week. And ACE listeners, the podcast listeners that is, they get themselves 10% off of any rental. Authorized Apple dealer, and they take care of your Apple Care needs. And they'll do it right there in the store. You can send stuff in if you're not around. Good guys, good people, been at it for a while now. And they fix Apple computers. They'll fix their iPod. They'll fix your iPhone.
They fixed my iPod.
They fixed your
Good
iPod.
as new.
There you go. See, instead of listeners' asswipes to keep telling you to throw stuff away after you drop it once, send it to our good friends at 01 Media Center. That's 310-651-8488. That's 310-651-8488. 01mediacenter.com. All right, Natasha.
Yes.
Let's do a little news, baby girl.
Okay.
Teresa Strasser is on assignment, and Vicodin. So now, with the news, Natasha Leggero.
So Paris Hilton was arrested, we know this, in Vegas, and the motorcycle officer smelled marijuana coming out of her vehicle, and then they say that Miss Hilton pulled out a tube of lip balm, and at the same time a bundle of cocaine in a plastic bag came out of her purse. Now, right when this happened, an hour later after she was arrested, she tweeted, in bed watching Family Guy, love this show, so hilarious, Stewie is my favorite, love his accent.
Wow, all right, well, she's passed it already.
Well, this was like at the same time she was in jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so basically either...
Well, wait a minute, was she in bed or was she in jail?
Well, she was in jail, but this is what's coming out of her Twitter account. So basically, she's either getting paid to tweet someone's,
oh,
you know, like.
So she's busted.
In jail.
Right.
So it's either a cover up, I guess.
Okay, so she probably has someone who's in charge of tweeting, because she's tweaking. I mean, so she can't be tweeting. So she has somebody who's keeping her tweets alive, right?
Or she's so obsessed with Twitter that she's tweeting that she's watching Family Guy to cover up that she's on cocaine charges.
But she must have had to tell someone to tweet this because she doesn't have access to her BlackBerry or whatever she's got because she's in the joint at this very moment, right?
Yeah, it's confusing.
So
the plot thickens.
Well, did she go in and immediately get discharged, or did she have to like stay overnight, or?
She was there for like 3 hours.
All right, so she couldn't have done it an hour later. They would have taken her phone.
I think that maybe that's how she pays for bail. She tweets about a product.
That's got to be weird. Like, when the whole time I was growing up, they always do that big thing, like do those shows, they go, you got one phone call. And now it's like, you got one phone call and 2.5 tweets. You only get 70 characters on the second one. Yeah. It was always that big one, like, who do you call? Do you call mom? Do you call the lawyer? Who do you call? There's like that weird payphone in the hall of the joint. Yeah.
It says this is the second time this year she's been arrested on drug possession allegations.
Yeah. Well, listen, I got news for everyone. Hot blonde heiresses do coke, and that's the way I like it. I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to do? And are we surprised? Are we disappointed? Is she going to lose endorsements? Isn't that what they do? I was yapping about this on stage the other night, but I mean, it's like Marilyn Monroe or...
you said Jane Mansfield.
Jane Mansfield. Or then they just run around and sort of get drunk and blow politicians like...
They didn't have to tweet about Carl's Jr. to get their cocaine.
But seriously, this is what hot blonde chicks sort of traditionally do. And by the way, she's hot blonde and an heiress. So she really doesn't do anything but just travel around and drink champagne and do coke. And then if you really think about it, as a society, do we really give a shit whether she drinks a magnum of champagne or does a bindle of blow? Like, she's just fucked up, right? I mean, are we judging her? Do we give a shit? She's
well, Lindsay Lohan is in jail now, and when she gets out, they're already offering $1 million for her first interview.
I know. It's so fucking sad. And there's no fucking up anymore. There's just fame.
Yeah, you're just getting more money.
Yeah. You're really, you're like, it's like there were kids, like it was like, there was a classroom back in the day, and it was like your kids all in some homeroom. And there's the one kid that was getting noticed for getting an A on every test. And then there was the other kid who was like my buddy Ray, who was disruptive and a loudmouth. And he was known for being a shitty student and being sort of out of hand and getting into trouble. Now, you're just known or you're not known. The kid who's getting the A's on about the same par as my buddy Ray, just because we both know their names. And they're both just, and so Ray can stand up and yell whatever he wants and throw something at the teacher, and it doesn't really matter what he does. He's going to be more and more famous and more known throughout the class and throughout the school just because he keeps standing up. Now, back in the day, you'd know who that person was, but there would be something called shame. I think we had something called shame that we don't really have.
Yeah, like if you
anymore.
Look at, the Kardashian thing. It's just your sister makes a sex tape with Brandy's brother, and then you get your own show.
Right. And the whole idea that she does a, sex tape and is doing sort of major league endorsements, well, that never would have happened X amount of years ago.
Famous. You're only famous because you had a sex tape.
I know, and the fucking message is crazy to everyone else who's trying to get famous, which is, hey, start sucking cock and film it next time.
If you even think about the 70s, too, like people like Charo, like who were kind of the dum-dums.
Coochie goo.
But she at least could play like classical flamenco guitar.
Yeah.
Like they had talent.
That's right. Yeah.
Can you imagine how famous Bob Crane would be today?
Oh, my God. Still my hero. I was looking at... I was watching the Emmys earlier tonight, and Sofia Vergara, or whatever her name is, from Modern Family, and she's up there just sort of doing her thing, and I thought, it's the new Charo.
She's good, though.
Yes, she is, but she's doing the same language thing.
Yeah.
She's having like fun with the pronunciation of something, and she's sort of shaking her boobies around, and that's what Charo, I mean, she's just hanging her boobies out and doing this crazy accent thing.
That is crazy. Her boobs are that big?
It's just huge boobs. She shakes them around, and she kind of plays with the accent. I'm not saying she doesn't have the accent, but she's having fun with it. And Charo had the accent, played with the accent, and shook her boobs around.
It's right.
She just needs to... See, back in the day, the only reason... Charo had Gucci Gucci Goo or Coochie Coochie Coo. I think it was Coochie Coochie Coo. Now, and people had like Here Come the Judge and Dynamite and stuff. You had... Fuck, I need one. I'm napping. I need something better. Something better. We gotta work. Lynch, work on something better than I'm napping for my dynamite.
I've just napped.
Let's not even nap at all. I think we're going down the wrong track there.
I'm about to nap.
Yeah. Thinking about napping. No, she needs her own sort of coochie coo or Gucci goo or whatever it is.
Catchphrases are kind of...
Yeah. Find a picture of Charo circa 1977 and you'll see... Yeah, now this is Charo this is Charo 95, but you got to find an old Charo. It's just boobs, big hair, boobs, about the same accent, minus the flamenco guitar. You're right. All right. And it was freaky every once in a while, like every fifth love boat, when she would pull out the flamenco guitar and start wailing away on it. You're like, what? She does what with this guitar? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, she was hot.
Of course she was hot. She's Charo.
She's cute.
And she'd do it like, goo, and she'd shake her boobs around, and then she'd pull out the guitar. Captain had a boner the whole time. Yeah, sorry. Hard to look tough in those sanitary knee-high socks and the white penny loafers and those other white shorts they make you wear in the Love Boat. Real gay outfit. You know what they do?
I miss that show.
I do too. You know, I think it was part of a plan. Like, listen, we don't want the crew fucking the guests, so we're going to give you the world's gayest outfits, and you'll never get laid. You see Gopher in that outfit? Yeah. No way you fucking him. Care how roofied up you are.
Aww. Why aren't they remaking
They
Love
tried.
Boat?
They did. Ted McGinley was in it. Yeah. And they'll never capture it. You know, here's why. Because everyone goes, why can't they capture the magic again? They can't capture, they try to do Knight Rider again, and they can't do it, and they try to do Love Boat again, and they can't. How come they can't capture the magic? Let me explain what the magic was. 3 fucking channels, and nothing else on. We were trapped. We had to watch it.
And there was no Nielsen rating, so they weren't asking people what they wanted. They were just smart people deciding what should be on.
They knew what the ratings were. They'd get 40 million people watching every fucking Friday night because there was nothing else to do. There's no, first off, no internet. Couldn't listen to this show. There's nothing. You couldn't go to your computer and check something or go to YouTube or iTunes or whatever. And then there was no Sports Center. There's no cable. It's just fucking trapped. It was just you and Captain Steubing on that same boring boat. And so you sort of learn to love it like shitty comfort food that your mom made, but if they served it at a restaurant now, the restaurant would go out of business. Thank you. Very apt. Yeah.
Do you think people were more famous then? Because there was...
It had to be. Well, I mean, how many more viewers did the Dukes of Hazzard have than Mad Men?
Right.
Answer, probably 30 million.
That many?
Well, it's sad, but I mean, a good cable night, I guess, a good cable night might, on any given night, like the Jon Stewart show gets 1 million viewers. Johnny Carson would get 19 million. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how, that on prime time, I mean, they probably average 20, 25 million, maybe 30 million viewers. Hell, the fucking Partridge Family have 35, 40. You have to twist Bonaducci's arm to get that out of him, but he'll give it up eventually. He doesn't like to brag.
Enough prying, yeah.
Yeah, enough prying and get that out of the douche man. But it's just a pure numbers game. Mad Men probably does 3 million, 4 million, 5 at the 4 million at the most. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but I would say 4 million versus like 30 million. That's basically what it was. If any of these guys were getting the numbers that Mad Men were getting, or even like The Sopranos or something like that, they'd be yanked off the air immediately. Thank you.
I'll listen to like you and Donnie or Damashek or you guys from that generation talk about TV and like wax nostalgic about all the TV shows and talk about episodes and stuff, and it's confusing to people from my generation because those were terrible shows and like they don't hold up and they're on TV occasionally on reruns. Yeah. And you watch them like this would never be on TV nowadays. This is horrible.
It's horrible. But yes, there were you were a bigger celebrity back then because if you were Isaac from the Love Boat, everyone fucking knew who you were.
Like, you probably couldn't go anywhere.
No. Yeah, not Isaac Hayes. I'm talking about the other Isaac.
What was his name? I don't remember.
What?
Yeah, Ted Lange or something. Yeah, Isaac. No, there's other black guys named Isaac. Sorry, brother. Yes, it's true. You're not the only black Isaac on the planet.
No.
Well, no. Well, actually, now that you're not here anymore, yeah. That Isaac made it further than you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now he's the real Isaac.
That's good.
Yeah. I think Isaac Hayes, you were on the Love Boat in one episode, right? Oh, you can't remember?
Sometimes.
Oh, you did a few of them? Yeah, but listen, Isaac, you fall off that Lido deck with that chainmail vest on, you're going right to Davy Jones' locker.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, at least we can agree on that. That's the opposite of a life preserver, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, I swear to God, see if Isaac Hayes was ever on the Love Boat. I bet he was. Well, he had to be. He was in show business and alive in 1975.
Oh, so there was a celebrity on every episode.
There were 5 celebrities on every episode, and they were crazy celebrities.
Yeah, like Gloria Vanderbilt. Like, just weird,
And like silent film stars were on there. I mean, I swear to God, it was insane. And it was also...
Would they do a performance?
Sometimes they would. There were like vaudevillian people, and there was like, you got to realize it was like 1975, so they were getting like Milton Berle and people like that. And I remember being 11 and then walking on this ship, and someone would go, "Gopher, it's Agnes Moorehead," and I'd be like, "Who the fuck is that?" Phil Rizzuto for the Money Store. All right, see if Isaac Hayes was ever on the Love Boat, and then try to figure out what Mad Men does on a given night, not a premiere or anything like that, just on a given night, numbers-wise, and what the Love Boat would do. Sorry, Natasha, you may continue.
Okay, our next...
So you're saying Isaac was busted with coke in Vegas? That's what I remember of this story.
Paris Hilton tweeting.
So somebody was tweeting for her.
Yes, and it's just either she was covering it up or who knows.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Hayes never did the Love Boat. Oh, man. Color me wrong and color him black.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hey, Isaac, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it can be, sometimes I get a little confused. I know you've been confused.
That's good.
Okay. I've heard you confused before, Isaac.
It's a thing that you get when you do shop.
Yeah, okay. All right, so see, there's my point. Sorry, go ahead, Natasha.
Okay, we're moving on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there is, as a reaction to the building of the mosque at Ground Zero, this pastor, Terry Jones, pastor of the Dove World Outreach Center in Gainesville, Florida, has proposed to hold an International Burn a Koran Day on September 11th.
Yeah, let's throw the bras in there, too, while we're at it.
I heard him talking.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's always people with country accents who want to burn the books.
Mm-hmm. He wants to burn the Koran.
Yeah, and he wants everyone to buy Korans and then burn the Korans on September 11th.
Oh, man.
And create this whole
Amazon's got to be stoked. You know what I mean? And I don't know how many Korans they're moving. I don't know if they're in their top 10 of books being moved or scriptures or scrolls, or I don't know what it even comes on. But the point is it's that whole thing where it's like you're supposed to. I mean, it's one of these things where it's sort of like the Dixie Chicks go out and buy their CD, and then we're going to run over it with a steamroller. Listen, I hope everyone within the sound of my voice buys some of my merchandise and then sets it on fire. That'd be awesome.
Well, it's such a kind of terrorizing thing to do, like just to start bonfires of books. It's so...
very German.
And this is happening at the same time. I guess last week we had the Glenn Beck rally, the Restoring Honor rally.
By burning the Koran. Mm-hmm. Here's my whole thing about the Koran and really all this stuff. I've, as an atheist, impacted an ass full of everyone. Just shut up. Who cares with your phony fake religions? You're all retards. I can't, it's like, there's a part of me that wants to just fucking die with these people and then come back so I can have them apologize to me when there's nothing. I'd like to just fucking get with a whole bunch. I'd like to get with a bunch of born-again Christians, and I'd like to get together with a bunch of guys that are fighting holy wars. I'd like to just blow ourselves all up, and then we could all sit there in darkness. Be like a camping trip where the lantern goes out. We just sit there and you just hear the crickets going, and nothing goes on. About 45 minutes goes by, and I go, all right, asswipes, you guys want to fucking apologize to me now? You got nothing. It's nothing. It's all nothing. It's insane that we fucking do this. We argue over the mosque. We blow each other up. We burn shit. We fucking... cut off reporters' heads, you know. It's all this shit over nothing. It doesn't exist. Season 3 of Mad Men averaged 1.8 million viewers per episode. So less than 2 million versus Gopher and Company. Sorry, getting, I'm guessing 25, 30 million. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, so you were just saying you want to
be
dead with a bunch of religious people.
But here's what I'm saying. Here's my lot in life. I feel like the better part of my life is spent listening to asswipe attorneys read disclaimers on medication that goes in your vagina, and I don't even possess a vagina yet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just sitting around listening to from some retard talking about either his born-again Christianity or when the Israelites were led by Moses out of the desert, or in the unleavened bread, or the Muslim and the Koran and the Sharia law and all that kind of, just shut up. It's all fucking fantasy. Who gives a shit?
But religion was meant to do something different than
right.
What's happening.
It was to keep stupid people in line, except for someone gave them a fucking microphone and now I have to hear them. Used to be in place, used to have religion, so it's like people, you know, here's the deal. People can be bad. They can do like a lot of raping and they can do a lot of killing and they can fuck their own family members and shit like that. When a guy gets a boner, look out, especially when he's, you know, there's no pussy within walking distance. He's going to fuck his own daughter. So we came up with a bunch of religion to kind of keep people in line.
He is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But the fundamentalists are ruining it. They're ruining the religion for everybody. They're making it seem...
Everyone who's into religion is ruining every religion for everyone. That's what I'm saying. There's a small group of people that have their religion and they shut the fuck up about it. Yes, the fundamentalists on all sides, on every religion, are fucking it up for everyone. Shut the fuck up. No one gives a shit about your fucking fantasy pie-in-the-sky bullshit.
Because really, Christianity is just about being nice to people and just trying to, like, spread joy.
Well, theoretically, you're supposed to, you know, not covet your neighbor's oxen or fuck his wife or any of that stuff. But at a certain point, it all boils down to a very simple equation, which is if you're a big enough Steelers fan, you can't just root for the Steelers. You have to hate the Baltimore Ravens. See what I mean? Because we're all like, yeah, we're all just like, just love your team. That's fine. But you also kind of hate the Ravens. And that's where religion comes in. It's not just that you fucking love Allah, but you hate the Jews. And that's where the trouble begins. And I'm just saying, as a society, let's all just pipe up and see if we can get everyone to shut the fuck up about this. Because like I said, whether it's the non-smoking prescription, then the 45-minute disclaimer, or the Nouveau Ring disclaimer about the chicks and their birth control, or the assholes marching and burning the Koran, or the other assholes marching and wanting the mosque built, I just had an ass full of it. Just everyone quietly go back to your own shitty life and shut up and wait to fucking die, and then I will see you nowhere. Not in hell, I will see you nowhere. Because you're not going anywhere, you asswipes, and you guys know it.
You will get your pound
You
of
pussies
flesh.
fucking know it. Or you wouldn't be fucking whining so much. Thank you. I know overcompensation when I hear it.
I just think religions are all windows onto the same thing.
It's pretty easy. We're going to die. We're going to die, and we're freaked out about it. So we got to try to keep people in line, and we got to kind of keep them from going, hey, fuck it, man, I'm going to die. I'm not going to go anywhere. Why don't I start fucking raping and stealing right now? You're an attractive lady. You're on my sofa. You're scantily clad. Hold her down, Bryan, or block the door. I'm an atheist.
This close to raping you.
So that's why religion is around, you think?
Religion
to
is
stop men from raping women on their couch?
It's to try to kind of keep people in line, and, well, they didn't have couches back then. They had sofas. No. It's to keep people in line for the most part, and it's to stop people that are freaked out over people dying randomly. When people die randomly, it freaks people out. When good things happen to bad people, it freaks out everyone else. Anytime some 3-year-old drowns in a pool, everyone with a 3-year-old goes, holy shit, that could have been my kid, and then we're all freaked out. But then somebody says he's at the knee of the Lord, and he's up there, and God must have had a reason, and blah, 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 and we all go, okay. Well, anyway, let's eat. But if he just goes into the dirt and it's random, then we're all freaked out about it. So it's put in place to keep people from not freaking out.
I do think, though, that some religions help people become more peaceful.
No. It's for stupid people. It's to keep stupid people in line. Yes, it's good
Even
if you're
Buddhism?
dumb. Yeah, it's all if you need something, if you need a way to keep your shit in order, it's fine. It's an AA meeting for dumb people. It's what it is. You can't handle the hooch, so you got to go fucking sit with a bunch of like-minded assholes and repeat the same mantra. That's all. Or I don't mind religion. Just stay home and do it. And yes, Buddhism, I don't have a fucking problem with Buddhism. Stay home and chant. Fine. Go get your kohansa and put your little fruit offering in front of it and do your Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and you're fine. I don't mind that. And let's also recognize that some religions are asshole religions and some religions are a little more mild. Yes, if everyone was Buddhist, I'd be completely fine with it.
I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
Fine. It doesn't hurt.
It helps.
It would help. Look, here's the tenets of Buddhism are like, look, you sit around, you spend an hour every day, and you focus on something by chanting on it. Whether it's your career, or wanting a new flat screen TV, or world peace, you sit there and you chant on it. Absolutely. If you said, I don't care how big an atheist you are, if I said, look, you're going to set aside an hour every day and really focus on something, whether it be family or getting a new car, I think you would be a better family member, and I think you would get a new car faster. So it's absolutely makes sense to me. It's not that mystical. It's not that spiritual. To me, it's just take an hour out of your day, sit in a quiet place, focus on, getting The Last Comic Standing picked up again for season 7. It would help.
For example,
it helps. I would never tell anyone not to do that.
Well, there's lots of different ways that your life could go, and when you chant sometimes, or you can make the best possible situation happen. I think that Christianity can find a way to do that as well.
I would argue that if you want to, God aside and Buddha aside and whoever aside, if you want to take an hour out of your day, or an hour on Sunday, or an hour on Saturday, and sit down and really focus on your life and your spirituality and your family and your goals and focus, that's a great idea. That's a capital idea. Everyone should do it. Now, you could chant, or you could sit in church, or you could read the Bible. It wouldn't really matter to me. Doing that for an hour a week or an hour a day, that's a fine plan. I have no problem with that. You're not going anywhere. There's nobody up there hearing your plan and making your dream come true. It's you focusing on it for an hour a day that's making your dream. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's not Jesus or Buddha. It's you doing it. But that's a good plan. I wouldn't take that away from anyone. Although I'm planning on it soon. Yeah, that's all I can say right now.
don't want to reveal too much.
I just can't believe it's 2010 and we got to hear these asswipes talking about burning things and building mosques, and just shut up. I mean, it never fucking ends.
And also, I mean, this rally, it's like there's like not even one black person in the whole rally.
Well, no, but they were rallying on the other side of the pond with the Martin Luther King thing. Are you talking about this one?
Well, I'm talking about
the Glenn Beck one.
The Glenn Beck one.
Yeah.
We should call that White Stock.
Yeah, White Stock was over that, and
it was on the same day as Martin Luther King's.
Right, and then Monterey Black was on the other side of the pond, and they were like with Jesse Jackson.
Sounds delicious.
Monterey Black.
That's right.
I'm trying to think of Monterey Pop.
Put that on a burger.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what it was called?
No, it's called Monterey Pop, but it's a...
I like Monterey Black.
That's right.
Well, when you said Woodstock, I was trying to think of the other...
White Stock.
Well, sorry, when you said White Stock, which was a reference to Woodstock, I don't have to explain the joke
the cultural
anymore.
equivalent.
Yeah. All right, shall we bring in Giovanni? Superfan Giovanni? Yeah, because he's looking to go.
There's more news with Natasha Leggero coming up.
Yeah, Superfan Giovanni is making his way in the room.
Hello.
I should go ahead and tell you about our good friends at GoToMeeting. Do a little more and travel a little less with GoToMeeting. Meet with clients and colleagues. I know it's important, but hassle, all that business travel. Poor Giovanni's been in an airport more than he's been in his own home in the last week and a half. You got to do GoToMeeting, Giovanni. Just $49 a month. Unlimited online meetings. You can host 5 meetings. You can host 100 meetings. One low, flat rate. Donnie and Sandy use it. They love it. I don't know those names. And we got a little special for my listeners. You can try GoToMeeting free for 45 days. Visit GoToMeeting.com. Click on the Try It Free button and type in the promo code ADAM, ADAM, for a special free extended 45-day trial. Visit GoToMeeting free. There you go. GoToMeeting.com. Giovanni, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, so how you doing, man?
Good. What do you got there?
Well, first, we're going to make an announcement.
All right.
So, for all the fans who've been listening, finally, Basic Cable Classics commentaries, they're done. It's coming very, very soon.
Right.
The very first one is you and Damashek
Right.
doing Roadhouse.
Yes, we did.
I've watched it 6 times.
Wow.
Funniest first party, third party, any commentary I've ever heard in my life, and I've heard thousands. So.
Really? Thousands?
Yes.
You're biased. It couldn't have been that good.
Yes, I've literally heard thousands. I once had a 3,000 DVD collection I had to sell off when my job was outsourced and I had to move, and it was heartbreaking. But I tried to listen to every commentary on the disc before I had to get rid of them because I had nothing better to do.
Really? Yes. Damashek and I sat in this very studio. We watched the entire... boy, it was more like 105 minutes of Roadhouse, and we made a comment on just about every frame, and we will release that. Now, how does that work, Giovanni? I know this was your idea.
You did the sync at the beginning, so when
Right.
people want to watch it, all they have to do is download the file, and they buy it.
Right.
Download the file, and you can play it any way you want through your home stereo, your iPod, even your fucking phone, and then you can watch it any way you want. And people were worried about the sync and how complicated it would be. There's competitors who have software, and they really outthought it. But with the way you guys
They
did
overthought it.
Yeah, they overthought. But the way you guys did it, it's simple, it's elegant, and it works perfectly, and it's hard to fuck up. Like, you have to try to fuck up the sync.
So you put the disc in, and I think right when the lion was yawning,
you use the
just
logo.
hit play, and our voice will sync up.
Very Pink Floyd-esque.
And
Yeah.
there's like a bonus 20 minutes or 10 minutes at the beginning where you guys just sit around and talk for the movie stars, which is just hilarious, too.
All right.
And everybody who likes you loves Damashek, so.
So I know, sad. But so I think it's everyone who loves me tolerates Damashek. It's more like that. But
That's also kind of true.
So that will be available
Very, very soon.
Very soon. So you
So
look
it's
forward
like
to that.
people have you over. It's like people have Adam over
Yeah, they
in
can
their
watch
house.
a movie with Adam. It's the ideal thing. People have been begging you to do it for 4 years. I've asked you on air a ton of times.
Great idea.
Yeah, there's other people doing them, but not like this. If anybody's bought one from another company, forget all that. Just buy the AceNet ones. Because
All right. Well, we got. I think we're going to be focusing on Karate Kid 3. I talked to Bill Simmons. I got to say, I had a real moment today. It was over at our friend Daniel's house, standing around with Bill Simmons, a sports guy, having a spirited debate about Karate Kid 3, and a couple of wives walked by, overheard us, did the eye roll, and did the, you guys talking about Rocky 3 again? Jesus Christ. And indignantly, Bill said, Karate Kid 3. Okay? Not Rocky.
it's actually happened
3.
on air before.
Thank you.
Last time you had Bill on the radio show and you did the Karate Kid 3 breakdown everybody's waiting for, Lynette called in and sung, I think she sung a song, or she at least interrupted the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're tired of their fucking adult, in quotes, adult husbands talking about movies that are 25 years old. All right. Giovanni, what else you got, brother?
When we were in Denver recently, the highlight of the trip, besides seeing you do 10 hours of live comedy with like 10% repetition.
Oh, Jesus, you must have hated that.
How many shows do you see, Giovanni?
I saw all 6. And he barely repeats himself. It's shocking.
Really?
He has pre-planned ideas and things, but it just goes in these weird directions. And it's if nobody's seen a live show, they do yourself a favor and go fucking see 1 or 2 or 3.
All right. Well, thanks.
It's different every time.
Giovanni is a super fan.
But the highlight of the trip, though, was we walked to Starbucks. We abandoned Donnie. He was coming downstairs. We walked to Starbucks, and I explained the Fast and the Furious continuity to you.
Yes.
We both like these movies, even though they're awful.
Well, that's kind of why we like them.
Yes, but there's an update on that. Remember I told you that the 4th movie is a prequel to the 3rd movie?
Well, this was the confusing part. And but I do like the part where you knew Vin Diesel's real name.
Yeah, Mark Vincent, I believe it was.
Right. Yeah, and you said he was sort of a nerd.
Yeah, well, he talks about it. He's like a D&D nerd, but he's a total p-hound because he was on like some E Junior, some sort of weird like Entertainment Tonight Junior on VH1 a few years back. And he was trying to like fuck Maria Menounos on air almost. She was like, come on, man, leave me alone.
Yeah. I live my life 6.5 inches at a time.
But the update on it is they're doing part 5, and they hired that guy Justin Lin, the Asian guy, again to direct it. and he wants to put his buddy in the movie again, so they're making Part 5 another prequel before Part 3.
The whole prequel thing, someone should have... when the first prequel, and I guess the first famous one was Star Wars, the Clone Attack, or whatever the fuck it was. Somebody should have put the kibosh on that immediately, because it's now, I feel like it's spun out of control. It's like Nutria in New Orleans. They've started tearing up the terrain.
I think Godfather Part 2 did it first and got it right.
Yeah.
That was the last.
Well, that was
because half the movie was about young Don Vito.
Oh, yeah. So I guess it is a prequel. But I guess before they had a name for it.
Pretty much.
The other half is current day.
Yeah. It's like the Celtics would win 3 in a row before they had three-peat figured out.
But the weird part about
they
this...
didn't have black guys on the team.
The weird part...
White guys are worried about hustling. Black guys are worried about, what would be a word for 3 wins in a row? That's how we put on a T-shirt.
Bill Russell really let all the black guys down
without coming up with three-peat. Yeah.
The weird part... The only reason
Bob Cousy comes up with three-peat in those shiny shorts with a belt.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, sorry.
The only reason they're doing it as a prequel again is because this Asian dude, he made an independent film called Better Luck Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And one of the ancillary characters is Buddy. And
Yeah.
he put him in the 3rd movie and killed him off. And then he wanted to put him in the 4th movie, so he said it before then. And now he wants to put him in the fucking 5th movie, so he said it before then again. What if Charles Wormfeld goes, hey, I'm doing Legally Blonde 3. What this needs is it needs Jerry Farrow, and it needs...
Yeah, well, here's the thing. That's the director of my movie, The Hammer, which I was sitting around tonight, and I was watching the Emmys, and I was watching Jane Lynch, fucking bring home another Emmy. She's nominated in, two categories. Actress in her, which she won in for Glee, and then she was also as a guest, whatever. And then I realized I was really just sitting there watching it, and she was in a movie I starred in, and I thought, geez, it would have been funny if someone would have tapped me on the shoulder at the time, this was about 4 years ago, and explained that this movie was going to be a launching pad for this chick. I would have thought, would have been nice if it was for me or Ozzy or one of the other people. Jane Lynch was known and had a career, but she's exploded in the last 18 months, would you say?
She's on everything.
She's on everything.
Anything comedy that needs a woman over 45, she's cast.
She's there, and nice as fuck, by the way.
Someone on this podcast made a point. It was the great point that she's the most underpaid actress in Hollywood because she makes everything she's in better. You know what I mean? You can bank on her making your at least one scene, possibly the whole movie, better.
Where was she 10 years ago?
Oh, she always worked and she was always doing things. But the whole thing about being a good actress is you get punished for being a good actress because you melt into your role. Unlike the aforementioned Vin Diesel, where you go, hey, it's Vin Diesel. Whenever he walks, I don't care what movie he walks into, it's like, there's Vin Diesel.
Well, that's the good news about Part 3. That guy you hate from Part 3, Tokyo Drift, he won't be in it because it's another prequel.
Duh. Now I can fucking sleep again. God. All right, what else you got, Superfan Giovanni? Yes, she was in my movie, and she's uncredited because her asswipe agent didn't.
What's weird is she didn't blow up in 2004 after doing 40-Year-Old Virgin, and that made over 100 million, and nobody was talking about her.
No, and then she did my movie, and kapow! Look out, world.
You always talk about the North Hollywood shootout and the lawsuit, and nobody ever corrects you or gets you the full information.
Yes.
I looked it up. In March of 2000, the thing ended in a mistrial.
Right.
And they dropped everything.
I know that.
With a waiver of malicious prosecution. So basically the family got fucked, and the people who were trying to get the money out of them, they got nothing. So,
they didn't?
No.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And they almost got in trouble for it, and they had to sign something to basically they wouldn't do it again.
Well, what happened was the North Hollywood, that North Hollywood shootout, that bank robber thing is completely and utterly insane.
44 minutes.
It doesn't get its due for there was 1,300 rounds put into the fucking. It wasn't shot in Reno. That shooting went down in the middle of North Hollywood. It's fucking where I grew up, in this crowded area, and these guys were just firing these AK-47s everywhere. And one of the guys killed himself essentially right as he was being shot, and another guy basically bled out. And let me tell you how cops work. Here's how cops work. If you try to run on a cop, and they got to chase you all over the place in your car and get the helicopter involved and get 3 other squad cars involved. When they get to you, because they're essentially every asshole you went to high school with, when they get up to you and they pull you out of your car, they will beat the shit out of you. Because the entire time they're chasing you and putting their life in danger, flying through intersections and putting the citizen's life endangered by flying through intersections. They're thinking to themselves, when I catch up to this motherfucker, I'm going to beat the shit out of him, and that's what they do. Now, that's you trying to outrun a cop in an SUV. Imagine if you just got done opening up an AK-47 with a modified banana clip at 40 cops for the last 45 minutes, what they would like to do to you once they fucking finally got hold of you. Because that ain't running a red. That's trying to kill them. And that's what these guys did. So when they finally got the one guy, the guy was just lying on the ground and he was bleeding out. And the cops were like, fuck you. And they suspected there was a third gunman around, even though they had no real proof of it. But it was so chaotic. Nobody knew what was going on. So they kind of used it as an excuse. And they said, you know what? We can't bring the ambulance into this hot zone, which is essentially a rule they have. If you're an ambulance driver, you're not going into a hot zone and getting shot when there's possibly a third guy bouncing around with an AK-47 with a fucking banana clip on it. So they told the ambulance, stay out of the hot zone. And then there's a lot of pictures of them just sort of sitting with this one guy just bleeding out. Well, they just sort of sat on the hood and smoked a cigarette and went, well, what can you do? Ambulance ain't showing up. It's a little frontier justice. The guy bled out. And then the mom of the guy sued the LAPD or the city of Los Angeles or whatever. And it turned out she was running some sort of like halfway house with seniors in it and hammering all their Social Security checks. So she was kind of on the fucking scam too. But I always became obsessed with the fact that our city may have had to hand over millions of dollars to this woman whose son shot up our entire city. Ugh. And technically, she had a case. Because it's not the cops' job to decide if a guy bleeds out or not. It's their job to apprehend the guy and call an ambulance, and they didn't call the ambulance, essentially. All right. So that was a mistrial or hung jury or whatever.
They agreed to dismiss the action of the waiver of Melissa's prosecution. So I think what happened is they said, hey, it ended the mistrial. So
okay, good. So she never got any money
there's no further updates past.
Well, hopefully she's dead by now.
I agree. But so I've been recovering a bunch more love lines. It's getting harder and harder to do it. We finally
Giovanni I have 0 love lines. He has, how many do you have?
You have them all. I gave them to you on flash drives.
I got them all.
Yeah. Well, you got all that I have. But what's happened is this guy in Phoenix had 100 tapes in a shed for 10 years. Yeah. And we finally got another copy of the Peter Wilson tape. And the greatest part about this one...
Peter Wilson was...
La Femme Nikita.
La Femme Nikita.
We've talked about it on almost every episode, except endless search, because Drew's wife calls in the beginning, and you get her to admit she'd go lesbo for her. Right. And then Drew freaks out and has like a panic attack on air, starts making those weird noises.
Right.
And then Peter talked like she wanted to follow him home and hook it up.
Yeah.
So we got one copy that was the last 10 minutes where Drew rushes out of the studio and Larry Flint comes in. Uh-huh. And we got the second copy now finally. And what fucking happens right as she calls in, right when you're about to ask a question, ranchero music bleeds in through the station. We always talked about them amplifying their signals at the border. Yeah. So it was a cosmic joke waiting there for 10 years for one of us to find it, just to cock block that one moment.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes later, you can hear him go back to dial and change it back. So he didn't change the station.
Well, so what's the deal? Westwood One never kept any of the love lines, or
after the Heidi Fleiss is what they used as an excuse, but really it was because they were kind of cheap. Uh-huh. And then as soon as you left, when Stryker came on, they started providing MP3s and charged people for them.
I see.
You can have our garbage, but you can't have our quality stuff.
We had Heidi Fleiss on, and I talked a lot of shit about the LAPD and the cops who busted her, and all the cops that were going undercover, and all the
posing Asian businessmen doing coke.
All the fucking she just basically said these guys are.
Well, she named names.
She named names and said there's like 40 guys that were doing it, and I just went ballistic on all of them. And then there's this thing where here was the beauty of Loveline. Bryan, please back me up. At some point, we got syndicated show of the year. Now I don't know for sure because I never actually saw the plaque because it was in producer Ann's office back at K-Rock, and we used to work out of Westwood One. And at a certain, I said, I think she just said it matter-of-factly. She said, we'd won syndicated radio show of the year, or whatever it was. And I said, oh, how's that work? And she said, it's a little presentation. You get a plaque or a trophy or something. And I said, where is that plaque? And she said, it's in my office.
Yep.
And I said, well, why don't you bring it into work one of these nights and we could have a look at it? And she was like, yeah, I'll see what I can do.
I don't think she ever did.
She never brought it in. And then like 4 months would go by, and I'd go, hey, Ann, that syndicated show of the year, the Billboard show of the year. Where's that plaque? I want to see that thing. Oh, yeah. And then she'd never bring it in. It was kind of weird. So and there was a couple things, a couple of awards, a couple things like that, where she'd never bring it up. It's like the Arbitron books would come out and 2 months ago, and then something would come up, and I'd go what happened to the ratings? I haven't heard the ratings in like 4 months. And she'd go, oh yeah, it came out 3 months ago. We're number one. And I'd go like, well, why didn't you say anything, Ann? It would have felt good.
Only trophy that stuck around was the one Fletcher brought when he came back for his famous night. He filled it with vomit and lacquered the top.
Right.
And that one stuck around somehow.
Right. But
the vomit-filled trophy.
The syndicated show of the year we couldn't get. Like that we couldn't get Ann to bring in.
Was she incompetent?
No.
No, it's just people that worked on Loveline had a mild disdain for Loveline.
For the show. No, they really did. And
Well,
Adam,
they didn't want you to know that you were
me or
getting...
the show.
tell them to stop talking all the time. Let more callers through. Let more teens call through.
It was sort of weird. There was I would call it a mild disdain for their employment and place of employment, and Engineer Anderson, and I would say me as well. Bryan, am I... Tell me if I'm...
I'll say that Anderson was one of the culprits. He begrudgingly admits that you're funny. He says you're hilarious. He's like, yeah,
and Corral's
hilarious.
He brags about erasing all the tapes after he got the best ofs done. He's proud of that.
Yeah, we worked with a lot of people didn't like the show. Everyone else liked the show, but no one in the building who worked on the show liked the show, and they didn't seem to like me very much either. Although I wasn't heavy-handed or anything, I was just on occasion, I would say things. Well, see, what it was is Loveline was this weird late-night radio show that had this super sloppy protocol, which would be no protocol. And they do little things like Dr. Drew would get one of the interns to give him coffee, but the coffee would arrive as the show was beginning every night, and you'd hear the door shut, and you'd hear, like, there were little things like this. I'll give you an example. The door to the studio was one of those big, heavy, burn fire rating, solid core doors with the big pneumatic closer on it and the metal timely frame. I used to install them when I did commercial work, tenant improvement work. It's like, you know when you're in a hotel room and you're trying to take a nap in the afternoon and someone in the room next to you just lets the door go and it just ka-kung. And so, like, when people would leave while we were on the air, like, we'd be talking, they'd just walk out, fling the door open, start walking, it's ka-chung. And I would say, like, hey, could you grab the door and just sort of quietly shut it so it didn't just make that big bounce off the steel? And they'd go like, what's up your ass, dude? And I'd be like, I'd like to be quiet because we're on the air. Yeah, okay, whatever. And so I was considered sort of a troublemaker for saying this, and it's like every show would open like this. Loveline, the mics would heat up, and I'd go, hey, it's Loveline, I'm Adam Carolla, it's Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew's board-certified physician, diction medicine specialist. Thank you. And that was Drew getting his coffee set down on the table, and then Drew saying thank you to the headless person that then walked out and let the door slam. And by the way, the person wouldn't put the coffee down on the strip of carpet that was on the top. They'd put it on the desk part. And so I was a pariah because...
Perhaps the fact that you referred to him as a headless person maybe is a giveaway.
Nameless. I was a pariah because I would say, look, Drew gets here at 9:30. The show starts at 10. Drew and intern whoever, you need to get your coffee in here, get it to Drew, and then leave with your big door slam. You need to do that before the show starts. I don't care if it's seconds before the show starts, but when the show starts, don't have the show start and then come in and make all your noise. Do it 8 seconds earlier before the show starts. And they'd go like, yeah, all right, like sort of, I'll think about it. And they do it. The next night they would do it, but the night after that they wouldn't do it. They'd come in again, and then I'd say, "Hey, remember what we talked about? I want you to do it." And then they'd be like, "Whoa, man, why are you out of line?" So I was an asshole.
Is they interns or is they like producers?
We had well, in radio producers like $11 an hour and no health insurance, but we had producer Ann and we had Tara. Don't call me Tara, goddammit. And she was a phone screener, and Bryan was a phone screener, and Tara was fucking horrible attitude and nothing but trouble, and just this sort of
why couldn't she get a
cute,
tumor?
Sassy chick? Yeah, good point. And I basically told her once, like, hey man, you got to focus a little bit when I'm talking. And she was like, you're not my boss.
She was watching The Simpsons while she told you
Watching
that.
The Simpsons, yeah.
So your professionalism was just totally looked down upon.
And I'm not even a professional. I was fucking wearing sweatpants and had a boner, and I was wearing like one flip-flop at the time.
Uggs.
But I was wearing Uggs, but I was saying to her, I said to her, what happened was, famously, is I walked into the screening room and I said, hey man, we had like 4 herpes calls in a row, and we got to limit those. And she went, and she was watching The Simpsons. And I said, Terry, you need to focus for a second when I'm talking. And she said, I can watch TV and listen. And I said, listen, when I'm talking, I just need you to, people in radio. I said, when I'm talking, you need to listen. And she goes, you're not my boss. And I said, you don't think I could fire you? And she said, no. I said, I could fucking fire your ass right now. And she's like, why are you being a dick? And it was like, and I think Ann would like take her side, and it was like I was considered an asswipe because I wanted to talk to the phone screener and tell him I didn't want another herpes call that night. So that was basically I would say the atmosphere over there was sort of that way. And my feeling, and this wasn't Drew's feeling, by the way, my feeling was like, fuck you, bitch. Like, you're making $9 an hour, I'm the star of this fucking syndicated show, and you're shooting sass at me? Fuck right off. But everyone else's feeling was, where do you get off telling her to fuck off? And I was like, it's my fucking show. That's where I get off telling her to fuck off. And they were like, so it was weird. And the thing that was funny about producer Ann is, I don't think she ever brought in the syndicated show of the year plaque or trophy or golden plate or golden goblet or golden microphone or whatever it was. But when the LAPD called her the following day, and by the way, Ann would never, you'd tell her, hey, could you bring that tape in, so-and-so, like Kimmel was on last week, and I told him to get the tape. She would never do it. But when the LAPD called her the following day and said, hey, we need that Heidi Fleiss tape, and we need Carolla and Fleiss, and we need it today, she was like, Johnny on the spot. She's like, oh, there you go. I wish she'd gone into her normal mode. She gave him the fucking tape, and then she said to me, I gave him the tape. And I was like, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you go, I don't have access to it, or it's on a reel, it's on a computer, we have to download it, or we don't tape the show. Or
like what they told the fans.
What they told the fans. Or just let me talk to my program director and call you back because I don't have access to it right now. Nope, she didn't call me. She was just like, boom. And I was like, why do you think the LAPD wanted that tape? To give me an accommodation or to fucking sue me, And she's like, I don't know. And they called and they wanted it.
It sounds like the women there had it out for you.
It was everybody. It seemed like
Anderson was a dick. Yeah. Tara was a bitch. Anderson's a dick. Tara, I'm guessing, still a bitch.
Actually, Bryan had an update. He ran into her a couple years ago, and he's like, hey, we worked together. She's like, so?
Shit, no, I always got along with Tara.
But no, remember you told the story of the film vault. He ran to her in 07. You hadn't seen her in years. He's like, hey, Tara, how you doing? And she was like, yeah, okay. And it had been 2-3 years since you've seen her.
I may have had a brain tumor.
Horrible employee, though. Yes?
I wasn't her employer.
Yeah, but did you ever work with her?
Yeah, for a couple years.
Yeah, shitty attitude, I would say.
Less than ideal. Nice person.
Not really.
To me, I was an $9.
She blocked my only call.
All right, nice enough to you, but sort of cunty to me.
She's hot.
She was what?
She's hot.
Yeah, she was good looking, and I think that sort of gave her license to be kind of bitchy. And then Anderson was just sort of passive aggressive, and then Ann was okay, but she was always kind of a Ricky Rackman fan. I think I never really won.
No, she told Ricky that you and Drew were going to be doing the TV show. She's the one that tipped him off and caused all that drama.
Yeah, she had a whole big thing when we were doing the TV show, and she got some information and really hid it from us, and then told Ricky about it, and then Ricky brought it up on the air.
Yeah,
it was really shitty stuff. So, yeah.
And all you did was get them all raises for millions of dollars and 120 markets you brought onto the show.
It sounds like a sitcom.
Yeah, I don't know if I got them all raises, but I sure as
you got Drew raised.
I got Drew fucking paid. That's for goddamn sure.
There was one guy who was cool there and was a fan, Engineer Mike.
Yeah, Engineer Mike was cool.
I've been in contact with him for years. He's been doing cool stuff for the fans, giving us his secret stashes and stuff, and he's like, fuck them. You can have whatever you want. And I had him on my show recently, and he wants to do your show, and you said you have him on.
Sure.
So it's a nice change of pace. Somebody from the past who actually has good memories and likes you.
Yeah, Westwood One, I don't think we're real big fans of the show either. Or they would have bought new chairs.
They're not,
but I was constantly in battle with them.
Speaking of chairs, I'm editing the episode where the fans sent. I just put it on my show where the fans sent the chairs in. You read the whole thing. You're like this better not be fucking sitting in my chairs.
Right,
you guys took them with you, right? You took yours at least when you guys switched studios.
I told Westwood basically what it is here's how radio works, and I should tell Natasha this. And Bryan, you back me up, fucker.
This is a sore subject, by the way. Go ahead.
Radio works like this. If you want, like for instance, there are a couple things you need in radio. You need chairs that don't make a ton of noise, because cheap office chairs start like squeaking and they bust. You don't realize like anything else, like a washing machine or a car, a chair sort of needs to be replaced every 5 years if there's a fat radio ass in it. Probably 14 hours out of the day, there's a fucking ass in that chair. And so what happens is you sit in these chairs and they start squeaking and they rattle. And when you're on the air, every time you lean forward, you hear this, and when you lean back, and then they start duct taping them. And the foam rubber, like what was the upholstered padded arms, it's all chewed up, looks like a rat got to it, and they put more gaffer's tape around it. At a certain point, and the other thing they don't have is headphones. They don't have an extra set of headphones, so like when guests come on, they're taped together and they're
fucked up. It's like bring your own.
Yeah, you got to bring your own headphones. They don't supply headphones, and they don't supply chairs. And I was like, hey, Westwood One, you're one of the biggest syndicators in the world. How about you go down to fucking Office Max, drop $89, and get me and Drew a new fucking chair so it doesn't make so much noise on the air. And they never did it. They would never do it. I would never stop complaining, and they would never do it. Nothing, by the way, ever happened. No matter, we would get death threats. We never got a security guard. We'd get everything by me not showing up. Eventually, I just go, fuck you. Here's the deal. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, I'm not coming in if there's not a security guard standing out front of that place. And I started doing it, and eventually would start getting my way. But it's just for the most minimal shit. And so we never got the chairs. And eventually, some fan from Minnesota, I believe, sent in 2 nice chairs for me and Drew.
Yeah, she worked at a furniture company.
Yeah.
Oh, because you complain about it on air.
Yeah.
Enough. Yeah. And she got tired of it, so she sent us some chairs. And then when I left, the thing was in my office right now. Oh, it's actually here now. What Bryan may be sitting on. No, that's not it. No. When I left Loveline, I said, these fucking chairs are coming with me. And Westwood One were like, huh, you're taking the chairs? I said, listen, you have 2 choices on the chairs. I either take them with me to my home or I burn them in the fucking parking lot, you assholes. But I'll tell you what's not a third option. You fuck sticks getting it. You fucking horribly run piece of shit company getting this chair that you never would have bought for us. Fuck you. So I either destroy in the parking lot the fucking axe handle or I put it in the back of my car and drive it home. But you're not getting it. They're horrible. That place is fucking dumb. They didn't have like a CD or DVD player in there for the first 5 years I was there.
DVD? Are you kidding me? If I had honestly, if I had to surmise or summarize the overriding theme of radio, the radio industry, it's getting as much as you can for as little as possible. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think that's just radio.
But it's extreme.
No,
it's extreme in radio.
TV.
They weren't allowed to have milk.
Yeah,
coffee.
Milk or milk. TV like overspends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's food everywhere.
Craft service.
Right.
Oh,
They couldn't have milk. Literally.
Radio's like, we're not buying milk for your coffee.
The headphones thing is crazy though. Like you would show up to do your if you showed up to a radio station to do your own radio show, you'd show up and be like, oh, can I have a pair of headphones? Like you didn't bring your own. You didn't bring your own headphones.
And it's an essential. It'd be like you showing up to do Larry King and them going, "Where's your lav mic?" And you're going, "I don't have a lav mic." Well, we certainly don't have an extra one.
But
we had one and it broke, and then we duct taped it together, and then it broke again. Now we don't have one. Like they don't realize. Like here's the part. An expense of doing radio is every couple of years you have to buy some fucking headphones down at the fucking Radio Shack for $89, and every 8 years you have to buy a chair. To them, that's extravagant. They're not going to do that. Yeah, they don't have headphones or chairs or peanut butter or coffee. I had to quit over coffee. I was like, I want some fucking coffee here. They're like, well, we don't do coffee. I was like, it's a place of employment, and I start at 10 o'clock at night. I've had a fucking long day. I want some coffee.
I used to buy the coffee for the show in my free time on the way to work because you guys would give me like an extra $20 to get some coffee.
Yes, and eventually I said, you guys have to pay for the coffee. I'm not paying for it anymore. And then Drew always undermined me. Drew was like, I'll pay for the coffee. I was like, shut the fuck up. We got some of our biggest... We got in our biggest arguments because I would give these hard out dates. Like I'd go 2 weeks from now, we have to have security, or 2 weeks from now, we have to move out of this dump because there's all this construction going on. We need to move back to K-Rock and blah, blah, blah. And I would say, if it's not done in 2 weeks, then I will not come in. And Drew would always undermine me. Drew would always come in and go, come on, give it one more day, come on. And I'd go, you don't, this is horrible parenting, by the way. This is not how you fucking send a message. You just do it. Yes. Never, we'd get in the biggest goddamn arguments over that.
Okay, true story about the chairs, by the way. True story, quick story about the chairs. You guys left Westwood 1 at some point to go do the show in K-Rock down the street. But you left the chairs behind. I got to sit in the chairs for a good 2 or 3 weeks and got comfortable, got used to the chairs. So like, oh, they left the chairs behind. These are great. And then you called over one day. You're like, hey, Bryan, bring those chairs around. I was like, oh, all right, buddy, whatever you say. Yeah, joking around. And the next night, hey, I know you got a pickup truck. Bring those chairs around.
I was fucking serious. Yeah, here's how. Let me explain. I'll do you one more. Just how incredibly stupid radio is and how ineffective and everything else. We worked at Westwood 1, which was in the middle of Culver City for all these years. And the home station, which was K-Rock, used to be in Burbank. And at a certain point, they moved into Culver City, too, basically down the street, about a mile down the road.
A mile away. And
they had a nice facility over there. Now, Westwood 1, which I used to call Westwood None or Westwood 2, this place was a badly built 1970s. Some hack carpenter, must have been beaked up on coke at the time, built this place.
Ski chalet.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like where they used to shoot porn in the 70s. And as an ex-carpenter, I was disgusted at the fit and finish of this place. But the place was a dump. And at some point, they started building a megaplex movie theater. And the building, now Westwood 1 the building was like a historical building for some reason. And they literally built this theater around it, right to the side of it and right behind it. And it was like a Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's not going to move. So they like build the skyscraper around Bugs Bunny's hole.
It was like Up.
Yeah, it was like Up. It was literally like Up, where it's like the old man refuses to move, so they build the shopping center and skyscraper around him. That's what they did. Now, the problem for us, Bryan, please tell me if I use any hyperbole at all. The problem with us is, A, that's where our parking lot was. So now we had to park on the street and down the street. And it's dark. It's like you're walking back to your car at midnight. And Culver City back in the day was not a great town to be walking around in the middle of the night. Also, they tore up all the concrete and they tore up everything. So you would be walking through mud and through holes and potholes. It was dark at night. Planks. There was one great move where they had plywood over a trench and it had sort of warped into sort of a half crescent shape. And at some point, when someone was walking, one guy was like 8 feet out in front of the next guy, and he stepped on it. And as he stepped on it, like a teeter-totter kicked up and hit the other guy in the shin, and he went fucking down. And people were like stumbling, and there was trash and stuff. And it was a total and utter mess. Not to mention it was like dark and dangerous. And so at the beginning of the construction project, I said, well, we were talking about moving back to K-Rock anyway, right? Right. Because everyone's like, as soon as K-Rock moved to Culver City, we're just going to move to K-Rock. I said, we're talking about moving it anyway. Let's just move back now. Because what we don't want to do is sit here and breathe in a bunch of dust and walk through a bunch of mud and not have any place to park and not have any security and step in a bunch of ditches and then move 9 months later when they're done with the construction project. So like every fucking week, I'd be like, come on, they're digging up the foundation, and then we get to the point they're setting cinder blocks, and they finished the whole fucking theater. And then we like literally moved on the ribbon cutting ceremony of the fucking theater. And the only reason we moved is because eventually I just said, listen, I'm not fucking coming. What's the date? It's the 1st? Okay, 15th, that's the day I stopped showing up at this place. No more. And we eventually moved because of that. Brian, am I exaggerating?
Say footnote, K-Rock, the place they were proposing the move, anticipating the move, state-of-the-art building. Brand new, state-of-the-art building. Everything was new.
Studio waiting.
Yeah, a studio waiting. Empty studio, and meanwhile still broadcasting out of crappy old...
A dump that was a half a mile down the street and couldn't move.
And everybody was pissed.
And they were digging up the entire fucking place. And I just said, why sit here through all this construction if we're going to move anyway? Let's just move now. And I was a fucking pariah because eventually I just said, fuck everyone. I'm not coming in. And that's the way radio works. And radio has, well, as I always said, TV is smart and evil and radio's dumb and evil. A lot of dumb, fucking dumb people. Like, you think people in TV are dumb? Oh, they're fucking Harvard faculty compared to radio. Radio is dumb.
Radio DJs seem like they want to be comedians.
Well, the talent level's horrific, obviously. And let me just tell you this.
A lot of them have failed stand-up and can move on.
They do seem
Laugh it up. It's going to get funny.
Yeah, they would love to do something else. They can't. It's not that they love radio. It's that they're not good enough to do other forms of comedy. Because
it is a form of comedy.
Here's what radio's about.
Energy.
Radio's about repetition. If you can get enough reps, anyone can do radio. But it's not, stand-up's not that way, and writing for TV's not that way, and doing things outside of that is not that way. But radio is about reps. Start in a small market, get a bad shift, do a bunch of overnights where no one will hear you, get tons of reps, and then if you have a sense of humor or a couple of brain cells to rub together, you'll be fine. But everyone who's in radio would love to be doing something other than radio. They hate radio. It's just they don't have enough comedic horsepower to pull themselves out of that radio mire. They'll never admit that. They're like, hey, this is what we do. They'd love to fucking host a daytime syndicated television show or something. They're not going to do it. It'll never work. Sorry. All right, anyway.
Wow.
Radio's full of fucking stupid assholes. It really is. It really is pathetic. Brian, please stop me if I'm exaggerating at all with any of these stories.
I'm going to stop you if you exaggerate.
Okay.
There is no exaggeration going on.
And by the way, 10 years of doing Loveline, the only note I ever got from my program director is talk less.
That's the one thing people
all I
like.
ever got.
That's the one thing people love about the show and still laugh.
All I ever got was more calls and shut up. That was the only note I'd ever received. That was it. That was it. And 2 notes we got when I was doing morning show was give out the time, except we're syndicated in different time zones, and of course the illustrious Wing Bowl idea.
No more McHale.
Huge in Philly. Oh yeah, and they didn't like Joel McHale coming in
not
on a weekly basis, bringing his clips in from the soup, or yeah, there it was. That's radio. It's full of super dumb people. What the fuck can you do? All right. Pot that up slowly, would you, next time? You scared the shit out of Natasha. Superfan Giovanni, bring it down a little, would you, please? Superfan Giovanni, you have any final words?
Well, stick around for the. I just go to Stitcher for the bonus content. I'm going to do the rest of my questions exclusively through Stitcher.
You're going to ask me the questions.
Yeah, Stitcher app or Stitcher.com for the website.
All right, and also Giovanni's got his own podcast. It's Get It On. That's right. GOpodcast.com is where you go.
GIO.
GIO, and it says, and on iTunes. You can get it on iTunes as well. Natasha Leggero, you can find her podcast, The Lavender Hour. It's available on Stitcher and iTunes. Bald Bryan, you can hear right here on the Ace Broadcasting Network with the Film Vault, the aforementioned Bitter Anderson. And, yeah, Stitcher extra content. So, where the hell was I? Until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Bald Bryan, Natasha, and Giovanni saying mahalo.
Get instant access to Adam Carolla, including extra content through Stitcher. No more wires or syncing. Straight from Ace to your phone on demand. Go to Stitcher.com. Follow the Ace Man on Twitter at Adam Carolla and check him out live September 9th at the Punchline in Sacramento, September 10th at Seattle's Moore Theater, at the Aladdin Theater in Portland on September 11th, September 15th at the Irvine Improv, and September 17th at the El Portal Theater. Show details at AdamCarolla.com.
All right, little extra content with Superfan Giovanni. Giovanni, you have your questions in hand. You have about 3 or 4 minutes, so ask away.
All right. Hopefully I can get more than one. All right. So what I want to get to with more Loveline. In '99, Drew was always asking to bring Ray on after the legendary stories. One night in '99, he snuck him on the show. Somehow he got in touch with him, brought him on. The fans have never heard you like this before. You immediately say, no, this isn't happening. And you're like in a really bad mood. And you basically tell Ray he has to get the fuck out of the studio. And Drew, everybody gets like bummed. It's like really sullen. And then Ray gets to stick around, but he's not allowed to talk the whole episode. And nobody knows it. The only way we can tell is we can hear him snickering. Do you remember what happened that night?
Yeah, well, Ray, it's one of these things, and it's kind of weird, but it's like this thing that runs deep with me and Ray, which is Ray doesn't know how to... Ray's kind of weird because Ray's a really funny guy in his actions, but when he gets behind the mic, he's shitty. And there was 2 elements. One is I thought he was just going to do shitty radio, number 1. And number 2, I thought he was going to talk about me taking a shit on someone's car in high school or something like that. And also, I didn't think he'd say, I think he'd like say, I'm taking a shit on, like he'd say shit. Like Ray couldn't really control himself very well, especially back then. And I just remember feeling kind of like semi-ambushed.
Yes, that's what you said. You also said you were having like a really bad week, so maybe it was...
I was probably having a bad week, and I just didn't want to. Well, I don't know what month it was or when it.
I think it was like June. So maybe there was like some Lynette stuff or something.
Yeah, probably was having some troubles at home, and although that was probably a little early for my troubles at home, but it was just probably one of these. I'm in no mood, and that's probably what it was. And I'm capable of getting in a shitty mood and then just sort of being in a shitty mood, even if it's about nothing.
Well, that's 1 out of 2,000 shows we have. That's the only time you've done it. So that's pretty good, a pretty good ratio. But what happened with that is you said, you know what, we will have Ray on when I want to have him on later. And it will happen, don't worry, kiddies. And then he was never on Loveline. So 6 years went by, never on.
Well, I never wanted any guests on, by the way. But what I wanted to do
John Hyatt.
What I wanted to do with Ray, yes, is I wanted to say, Ray, sit down, write down 5 funny stories that you remember from back in the day, work them out a little bit, and let's do it. Because Ray was kind of a loose cannon, and he'd tell some joke that would get him into trouble, and his ass is a loose cannon as well, yes.
See, there's these misconnections that it kind of bums some of the hardcore fans out. Like, casual listeners, they might not notice it, but the people who are going to buy everything, and, these are tens of thousands of people who they listen to every goddamn word, and, there are all kinds of people, all walks of life you never imagine. And then you finally had him on the morning show, and then again, what happened, we covered this last time, so we don't have to get into it, but he was teased the fruit flies in the locker story, which we explained last time, and then 2.5 years go by, and all these listeners who are hardcore but didn't know that story never got to hear it, and they came back on, did reenactments, and it was like forgotten, and nobody kept track of it, or...
Yeah, I had a bunch of fruit in my locker, and I got fruit flies in my locker.
Well, you said just because you were lazy and leave fruit, but Ray had a whole argument that it was because of Jung Hee Lee, you had a prayer altar, a Buddhist prayer altar.
That's the part that would piss me off, is because... What I don't like is when people embellish stories or when over the years they turn into something. That's insane. Jung Hee Lee was this Chinese chick that had a crush on me and was trying to get me into being a Buddhist, but I was in high school. I wasn't into Buddhism and a prayer altar. And no, that was me bringing an apple, letting it rot out in my locker. And that was that.
We went over that last time. I'll bring up one more so we can wrap this one up. There's an odd topic I brought up on the last show at the very end, about people hearing your voice as they were in fatal or near-fatal car accidents. And we kind of agreed that, well, maybe you didn't cause them to have a laughing fit and get into one. It's probably happened where you were the last thing people heard. A lot of times. And right after I got done with the show, I get home on the message board, somebody sends me, in 2006, 2007, last thing I remember is listening to Adam laughing my ass off. I wake up in a coma 2 weeks later, blindsided by a truck. So I guess it happens all the time.
Well, I would argue it's hard to wake up in a coma.
Oh, wake up from a coma.
Ah, there you go. Waking up in a coma is a bummer.
It's Inception.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm flattered. Flattered that people take the time to be T-boned by 18-wheelers while they're laughing it up at one of my fart jokes. All right, Giovanni, you happy?
I'm happy, but I think we're going to do one more of these.
All right.
So, do you want to wrap this one, or do we got to...
Well, we could have if you just shut the fuck up when I said, are you happy?
All right, pal. Okay, so we ready for the other one?
We're still rolling, go for 2.
All right, cool.
I was aware we're doing another one.
All right, man.
All right, we're back, and we have some more from Superfan Giovanni. Giovanni?
Okay, I got 2 more good ones for you here. We finally got a copy of the No Doubt episode with the racist comment that everybody deems racist, and everybody's heard it now. It's completely unracist. It's so harmless and nothing.
Well, but you're a fan.
No. The wording you always used as an example, it's not that wording. Use different wording. And Ricky Rackman made the big deal about not No Doubt. He figured out like a bitch about it. And the guy who found it for me is Uncle Penny, Adam Driscoll, my partner in this. He's the guy from India, abandoned dumpster. He's Indian descent. He's perfectly fine with it, and there's nothing racist about it. Even he agrees, and he can separate
Well,
his
so
family.
what was the actual story then?
It was just she was in the studio, and she was talking
Gwen
about...
Stefani?
Gwen Stefani. She was talking about a guy she dated, and it was Tony K. Anal, as I like to call him, the bassist of her band, right sitting next to her, but she didn't identify him as that way. She was keeping it really vague, like it's some mystery.
She said she'd done interracial dating.
Yes, and you made, like, it was the 7-Eleven Indian or... woo 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 Indian, but you didn't. You didn't. One of those you didn't use. It was a word. I don't know the exact wording here, but you worded it in a way that it was much less offensive than everybody remembers. But what's weird about that is I remember this episode we don't have. I don't remember the context exactly. There was a letter brought in from Gwen that you read on air. I don't know if the band brought it in one time or if it just came in separately. But it basically had all the reasons she wouldn't do the show again. You read it. It made her seem like a complete idiot, and she called you racist like 14 times.
Oh, really?
Do you remember reading that letter?
No. It's the beauty of me, everyone. You can try to hurt my feelings, except for I don't remember it. I have no idea where that letter is. I just remember, and I've talked to Drew about this before, there's something wrong with the members of that band, no doubt.
Yes.
They have personality issues.
The
and
drummer would
entitlement
come
issues.
on with Bow Wow Wow later, and he'd call you a dick all the time.
He was a dick.
He's a piece of shit.
I didn't like that guy. As a matter of fact, the lead guitar player was an all right guy.
Yeah, Dr. Bruce likes him. He gives him guitars.
Everyone else had a weird issues in that that band.
Very
weird.
strange.
Yeah.
All right, I want to get to documentary.
It's nice. And by the way, Gwen is a really nice person, but I think basically what was going on there is I think they outgrew our show and they just want an excuse not to come back.
Well, they came back without her once.
That's
he would come back with Bow Wow. But what was interesting about that, too, is you were the far less offensive host. The poor man who preceded Rackman before you came on, we recorded a copy from 92 where Gwen admits that when she was like 15, he tried to get her to come over to his house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
there you go.
There's a little more offensive about that.
Well, again, I don't fucking do anything, but yet I'm a dick. You know what I mean? Like everyone else is just, believe me, if you guys knew what everyone else in Hollywood was fucking up to in this town, you would hate them. All I do is fucking mouth off, go home, beat off, and go to bed. That's it. That's as harmless as I am.
All right, well, I'm going to change gears on this because fans love it when you talk about documentaries, but it happens so infrequently you just end up recommending Overnight every time.
Right.
Which
sure.
we've all seen, we love, and it's great.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that comes to mind, any recent documentaries you've actually seen that you liked?
Yeah, I just got an email from Dan, from the Dan Band.
Okay.
And he said he was on the road and he wanted some documentaries. And I recommended, somebody gave me The Gets.
The Gets movie, I gave it to you.
Oh, yeah.
The Gets movie, yes, it's amazing.
Yeah, that was a good documentary. Band out of, I guess, Seattle. The lead singer was killed and they finally found out, whatever. But The Gets was good, and because I just emailed him, or I texted him back in a cab half asleep in Chicago a few days ago. If you keep talking, I'll come up with the doc. It's another one of the docs. I have 3 docs or 2 docs.
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah, I now know it. One I haven't seen in about... It's probably from 2003 or 2004. If you guys haven't seen it, you need to see it. But like any good documentary or any good movie, if you haven't seen it in 5 or 6 years, you need to see it again. The Kid Stays in the Picture.
Oh, yes.
Bob Evans.
Yes.
Fucking awesome.
The audiobook of that is incredible.
Unbelievable. So The Kid Stays in the Picture is just, especially if you have any interest at all in history and showbiz and that kind of stuff.
70s
Hollywood,
filmmaking.
70s filmmaking, even before that, Roman Polanski, whatever, Mia Farrow, the whole thing. It's just riveting. Like literally,
lots of extra footage too on that.
When you turn it on, you can't fucking get up and turn it off. So Overnight, The Gets. The Kid Stays in the Picture.
And Bob Odenkirk would always say about The Kid Stays in the Picture, it's like listening to Satan read his memoirs.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. The name Bob Evans gets ink. Yeah. Please watch it just to get to the part where he explains how he got busted for coke trafficking.
Yeah.
Because I love his version of it.
Yeah.
He's literally one of the biggest Hollywood producers, if not the biggest Hollywood producer in town, in Hollywood, living the fucking lifestyle, playboy, banging 19-year-old chicks left and right, living in a fucking palace in Beverly Hills, offices on the lot. And he's like, and then one night after a party, a beautiful 21-year-old blonde came up to me and handed me a mysterious powder. Told me it would make me feel better than I've ever felt before. Like, mysterious powder, you're 7 years old, she's 21, you're the producer. She didn't hand you the mysterious powder. You're in Hollywood, you'd never heard of cocaine in the middle of the fucking 70s. I'm sure everyone was doing it all the time. No, you handed her the fucking powder to try to fuck her, Bob.
Yeah, not try to.
Hand you. I love it when people do the introduction to drugs, like, hey, I'd never heard of this thing called, is it marijuana or marijuana? Anyway, I'm saying a party guy hands me a cigarette. Evidently it's stuffed full of this marijuana. Tells me to suck on it, so I try it. Like, you're fucking 45, you're living in Hollywood, it's the middle of the fucking coke-fueled early 80s, late 70s. Don't give me the fucking mysterious powder bullshit.
And from what I found out, he was actually in pursuit of liquid cocaine. It was their holy grail back then. Everybody wanted pharmaceutical grade liquid cocaine. And the government
name
found out.
Bob Evans gets ink. All right, Giovanni, nice job.
Thank you, sir.